Amazing, amazing. Hi, everyone. Sorry if I'm not as energetic as I usually am, but it is 5 o'clock in the morning here in Mexico City. So yes, please bear with me. But yes, anyway, so TOORLY is a fan demand driven global touring platform. And so what that means for the fan is that essentially it gives fans the opportunity to get involved in touring, which they haven't been able to do very effectively, other than leaving comments on Instagram posts, come here, come this place, come that place. So we're formalizing that a little bit and making it a fun experience. And yeah, so for artists, it's the opportunity to gather real-time touring demand around the world. So basically what the fans can do on the platform is they can create a request, and then all the other fans that live in the same city and that are also fans of the same artist would now get notified that the request exists. And so the fans can come together and team up and make shows happen, basically. And on the other side, on the artist side, if artists are looking for expanding into territories that they don't know very well, maybe uncharted touring markets, then it's an opportunity to put out a request and say, hey, I'm going on my first Asia tour, for example. Where in Asia would you guys want to see me? And then they have an opportunity of putting all the various cities forward, and fans can now key in and say where they would like the artist to come to. And so all of that obviously has a big data backend. So that's really what it's all about. It's all about establishing real-time fan demand or touring demand around the world. And yeah, I mean, I lived in a lot of underserved touring markets. I lived in Nigeria for a long time, and in South Africa, and also in Hong Kong, which is also a very underserved market. Nobody ever passes by for concerts. So basically and as a manager, I've been in the industry for 15 years now. And when I was in management, it always baffled me how artists would end up going to the same places over and over, whereas the world is so massive. And there are so many unexplored places where fan demand is really strong, but artists just don't have enough data to move into those markets or to feel confident, because streaming data is actually not very reliable for touring. Anyone who works with streaming data and tries to make sense of that for touring would probably know that there could be a lot of demand and a lot of listening in certain cities based on having been on playlists, having features, but that doesn't mean that people would necessarily come out and buy tickets. So this is really about establishing live music demand. Yeah, and at the same time, it's giving you a massive opportunity to the fans to get involved. So from my experience, fans really do want to get involved, but there's no good mechanism to take their feedback into consideration. And yeah, so basically, in terms of key benefits, it's all about quantifying fan demand, identifying opportunities, because we also look at comparing what artists' local demand looks like, what are the local fans into, which other local artists are they into, what other domestic artists are they into. So there's a lot of opportunities that can be identified in that space. And of course, it's all about empowering the superfan, because they really do want to get involved. And yeah, it's fun. And for the fans, it's essentially, yeah, it's an opportunity to get involved properly, and make sure that a city is not left out of upcoming tours. And of course, it's just fun, right? So it's also about music and discovery. And yeah, and what we're looking for are essentially three things. So on the one hand, just a moment. On the one hand, what we're really looking for is a data scientist to be joining our founding team. So if anyone is out there that's interested in touring and has experience in data, for data science as well as data analysis, then the second thing would be we're looking for an advisor in that space. And thirdly, we are, we're about to go into private beta. And if anyone is out there that would like to try us out and give us some feedback, especially in the touring space, of course, but anyone in the music industry that has anything to do with live music. And if anyone is out there, any aspiring music industry professionals that would like to join our street team and help us spread out globally, then please do also get in touch. That's
Amazing.
it. I'm under 5 minutes, I suppose.
Yes, I was waiting for you. I was like, hopefully she said, I don't know, just making sure I didn't want to interrupt. Fantastic.
Yep.
Hopefully, first of
The
all, I
end.
hopefully Geraldine and you and Jenny, you guys get a chance to chat because obviously
Yes,
there's
exactly. When I heard Geraldine's presentation, I was like, oh, okay. We should
good.
definitely have a conversation. Yeah.
Love that. Geraldine actually asked a question as well. She said, how do you connect Tourly to an artist's fans? How do you actually like make that happen?
Well, in fact, we are starting off. It's on the fan side, actually, because that's what that's where the activity is coming from right now. There's a lot of demand for fans to want to be involved. So essentially, what we're doing is reaching into the various fan markets, into the fan bases, into the fandoms, and making them aware of what we're doing. And yeah, and so far, everyone who's been seeing what we're doing and has seen the platform is on the fan side super excited. So yeah, I mean, it's really just a matter of getting it out there, and yeah, and we have teams in place for that. We had a long time to prepare because we were going to start and launch in March 2020, and so we've had an extra 2 years to really plan it out and have a global launch strategy. So yeah, that's what we're focusing on.
Great, and I have one question as well. What are the current or potential synergies with other platforms? I know you mentioned that streaming itself is not a great indicator of live, but what are you incorporating or planning to incorporate into Tourly so that there's a few different kind of data points to think of?
Well, I shouldn't be saying that at a data conference, I suppose, but we're currently not looking at integrations yet. At least not for data points, simply because in the live music space, there really isn't anything very reliable or that I would consider reliable data, which is why I believe that TOORLY is so important for artist teams so that they can actually quantify what this data is. And I believe it's particularly interesting because we have a lot of new streaming talent that came up over the last few years. They have no touring history, there's no track record, but partly millions, gazillions of followers, but very difficult to now quantify to see, okay, well, how many people are following because of TikTok and how many people are following because they actually enjoy your music and they will go and buy a ticket. And yeah, so essentially, no, we're not integrating any data as of now, but I'm definitely open to it. If we see if we see data points that really make sense and that wouldn't dilute what we already have, then we would definitely consider that.
Amazing. Okay, I think that's the last of the questions. Thank you, Jenny, so much for waking up at an ungodly hour to do this.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here.